Today, we are diving into the life of a man whose name is practically synonymous with genius, with electricity, and yeah, maybe even a touch of madness. Nikola Tesla. He's become this huge icon, almost a figure of myth. But let me tell you, the real story is so much more fascinating. So you've probably heard the popular story, right? Tesla, the pure visionary, constantly getting betrayed and ripped off by lesser men. But is that really the whole picture? In this explainer, we're going to peel back the layers of that legend and find the brilliant, flawed, and, ultimately human guy at the center of it all. All right, so let's start at the very beginning. Our story kicks off in a tiny village in Croatia where this kid with a truly incredible mind was born. From his earliest days, Tesla wasn't just smart, he was obsessive. He was driven by this vision of the world that, frankly, only he could see. And right away on this timeline, you see the central conflict of Tesla's whole life. On one hand, you have this insane, almost superhuman work ethic, studying from 3 in the morning till 11 at night. But on the other hand, you see a man who could be totally derailed by his passions, losing his entire scholarship because he got addicted to gambling. This whole push and pull between crazy discipline and wild impulse, it all leads up to 1882, and this one moment of just pure lightning-in-a-bottle genius. Can you even imagine this? You're just walking through a park at sunset, maybe reciting some poetry, and then bam! The entire, complete blueprint for a world-changing motor just appears in your head, fully formed. This wasn't some gradual process of discovery. It was like a lightning strike, a revelation. And it was this vision, the vision of alternating current, that would define the rest of his life and put him on a collision course with the biggest names in American industry. So, with this incredible idea in his head, Tesla lands in America in 1884, and he's about to meet the two men who would completely shape his destiny: Thomas Edison, who would be his first boss and later his biggest rival, and George Westinghouse, who would become his greatest champion. You really couldn't find two more different guys. On one side, you have Edison, the ultimate pragmatist, the entrepreneur. He was focused on what he could actually market and sell, and he had bet everything on his system, direct current or DC. Then you have Tesla, the idealist, the visionary, driven by the sheer scientific beauty of alternating current, or AC, and what it could do for all of humanity. Their philosophies were just bound to clash. It was inevitable. But look, for all their differences, Edison knew a genius when he saw one. There's this great story where the dynamos on a huge passenger ship, the SS Oregon, failed. The ship couldn't leave. Tesla worked all night long and fixed a problem that everybody else thought was impossible. And Edison's reaction, it just says it all. He recognized the talent. But as we'll see, respect and a good working relationship are two very different things. And that brings us to maybe the most famous story in the whole Tesla legend, the $50,000 bonus he was supposedly cheated out of. The thing is, when you actually look at the historical record, it gets complicated. The story doesn't show up in any documents from that time, not in Edison's records, not even in Tesla's own diaries. It seems like this legendary betrayal might be more myth than fact, a story that got a little bigger and better in the retelling years later. It's a powerful story, for sure. The brilliant artist cheated by the greedy businessman, and it's definitely shaped how we see Tesla, even if the reality is a bit murkier. Okay, so after leaving Edison, Tesla finds a partner who actually gets his vision, George Westinghouse. And this partnership totally shows that Tesla wasn't always the victim. Look at this deal. Westinghouse didn't just buy his patents for what would be millions in today's money. He also agreed to this incredibly generous royalty deal. This was a real partnership built on respect and a shared goal of powering the entire world. But this is so classic Tesla. This is where his idealism just smacks right into business reality. When Westinghouse's company was on the verge of financial collapse, Tesla did something unbelievable. He literally tore up that royalty contract. He walked away from what would have been a massive fortune, all to save his friend's company and to make sure that the future of AC power was secure. It wasn't an incredibly noble thing to do, but man, it would have huge consequences for his own financial future. So with Westinghouse backing him, the stage was set for an epic showdown. It got called the War of the Currents, and it was this public, brutal, and often vicious battle between Edison's DC and Tesla's AC to decide once and for all how our world was going to be powered. And Edison fought dirty. This got nasty. He launched this all-out fear campaign to convince everyone that AC was a deadly menace. He held these horrifying public spectacles where he'd electrocute stray dogs, calves, even a horse with AC, just to prove how dangerous it was.
He even secretly pushed for AC to be used in the brand new electric chair, just so he could forever link the term getting Westinghoused with capital punishment. It was ruthless. And the whole war really came to a head at the 1893 Chicago World's Fair. It was a huge deal who would get the contract to light up the whole thing. Well, the numbers here tell the entire story. Edison's bid, using his DC system, was $554,000. But Westinghouse, using Tesla's much more efficient AC technology, came in way under at just $399,000. They won the contract. And boom, the Chicago World's Fair became known as the City of Light. It was this absolutely breathtaking spectacle of AC power that just blew away millions of visitors. People saw with their own eyes that AC was powerful, it was effective, and it was safe. Right there, in that brilliant glow, alternating current won the war. And if the World's Fair was the decisive battle, this was the moment the victory was carved in stone. Just 2 years later, using Tesla's system, Westinghouse built the first massive hydroelectric plant at Niagara Falls. The sheer scale of it was unbelievable, 37,300 kilowatts. It was the ultimate proof. Tesla's dream of harnessing incredible amounts of power and sending it across huge distances was finally a reality. So you'd think after winning the current war, he'd take a victory lap, right? Nope. Tesla immediately turned his attention to an even bigger, even more mind-bending goal: a world with no wires. He became convinced he could send not just signals, but actual electrical power right through the air and the Earth itself. And this is where things get really wild. To test his ideas, he built this huge lab out in Colorado Springs. The experiments were just spectacular. He was creating artificial lightning bolts 135 feet long, so powerful they could be seen for miles. He truly believed he had figured out how to make the entire planet resonate like a bell, sending limitless, free energy to anyone, anywhere. And all those crazy experiments led to this, his ultimate magnum opus, the Wardenclyffe Tower out on Long Island. The plan was just breathtaking. He'd build this massive tower to pump electrical energy into the Earth, creating waves that could be picked up by a simple receiver anywhere on the planet. It wasn't just wireless communication. It was a vision for a global system of free wireless power for everyone. But the dream just completely fell apart. And it wasn't one thing. It was a perfect storm. His main investor, the banker J.P. Morgan, pulled his support. See, Morgan thought he was funding a wireless telegraph system he could make money from, not some free energy project. Then, right at that critical moment, Guglielmo Marconi successfully sends the first wireless radio signal across the Atlantic, and all the investors flock to him. At the end of the day, Tesla's vision was just too big, too expensive, and way too far ahead of its time. He ran out of money, and the tower was eventually torn down for scrap to pay off his debts. A monument to a beautiful dream that just couldn't get off the ground. So after Wardenclyffe, Tesla's story takes a bit of a sad turn. He spent his final decades pretty much in obscurity, moving from one New York hotel to another, his grandest dreams left unrealized. But here's the thing. While he might have been forgotten by the public, his ideas were quietly, secretly, becoming the very foundation of the modern world we live in today. And in those last years, he became more and more of a recluse, finding more companionship with the pigeons in New York City than with actual people. This quote about one specific white pigeon he cared for is just so telling. It reveals a man who, after a lifetime of these titanic, world-changing struggles, found his purpose in this one simple, gentle connection. He died in 1943, alone in a hotel room and deep in debt. But his legacy? Oh, it's not just in the past. It is alive and well, and it's literally saving lives today. His name lives on in one of the highest honors in all of science. The Tesla is the official unit we use to measure magnetic strength. So every single time a doctor uses an MRI machine, the power of that machine is measured in Teslas. It's a direct line from his incredible mind to modern medicine. And it's not just the MRI. The list just goes on and on. The fundamental ideas behind radio, Tesla. The very first remote control, Tesla. Neon and fluorescent lights, the Tesla coil. So much of our technology traces right back to his work. But his biggest contribution, the one that is truly everywhere, is the alternating current system. It is the bedrock of our entire electrical world. Our world simply runs on his inventions, whether we know it or not. So we're back where we started. Who was this guy? A genius who was cheated? Or a man whose own incredible ambition was his downfall? And I think the real answer is, he was both. He lost his biggest, most personal battle for a wireless world, But in the process of fighting that battle, he gave us all the building blocks for our own. He was complex, he was brilliant, and yeah, he was ultimately tragic. But his true legacy isn't written in stories about betrayal. It's written in the quiet home of electricity that's all around us, right now.